Okay, Lucas, here we go, buddy. This is my first time doing this, so bear with me if I make mistakes. I see your paper is not the right setup. How's that? Okay, so today we're going to look at mixed numbers. And this happens when I'm working with fractions and I have some wholes, okay? Meaning like 8/8 of something or 5/5 of something. I use mixed numbers to represent. So here's one whole, correct? Then I have, here's 2. And then I have this critter, okay? This is a third. I have 1, 2, and 1/3. Now, if I add another one to it, now I have 1, 2. I have 2 wholes and 2/3, okay? And that's where we get our mixed number from. And when I write it, I just write my whole number, and right next to it, I write the fraction that goes with it. So on our work today, we're going to do a little bit of coloring. We're going to do some drawing and writing some numbers. And I think, because I know how smart you are, that this isn't going to be a problem for you at all. But if it is, okay, and you run into trouble and something doesn't make sense, you let me know. Send either a text message or an email, and then I'll give you a call and we'll see what we can do if you're not able to work it with a tutor. Okay, so go ahead and grab page 77. At any time you need to pause and re-listen to something, just hit pause, rewind, and go back and grab whatever information you need to, right? So my first thing says, color to show the word form. Write the mixed number. So it says 1 3/4. Now I had a black marker, but I think I'm gonna use a different color marker. You can use whatever color you like. However, I think probably using your pencil is your best bet, just because it'll be easier for you to erase if you make a mistake, okay? So it says 1 3/4. So 1 tells me a whole number. So I am going to color in 1 whole. See, there is 1. Then it says and 3/4. So over here, I'm going to color in 3/4 of that circle. 1, 2, 3. Okay, then it wants me to write the representation in fractions instead of the words that it wrote up here. Okay, so I write 1 3/4. Look at that. That's exactly what I have here. 1 whole and 3/4 of a whole. So together it's 1 3/4. Okay, let's look at number 2. It says 2 1/3. Well, if I look at these bars, each one of them is divided into thirds. So I have 2 whole, 1, 2. So there's the representation of this word, 2. And then it says and 1/3. So I come over to this box and I'm going to color in 1/3. Then in the blank, it wants me to write what the number is. So I want you to hit pause, go ahead and color your 2 1/3, and then come back to see the answer. All right, you should have written 2 1/3. Did you get it right? If not, you can go back and see what happened by rewinding. Looks pretty good so far. Now, let's start comparing them. Oh, that's gonna get a little more difficult and gonna take a little more paying attention with my brain. So here we go. Write greater than or less than to compare. So I look at the pictures. This is 1, 2, 3. That's a whole and 1/3. See, that's written right here. This is represented right there. 1 1/3. Is it greater than or less than 1 and 2/3. Well, let's just think. Let's go back to the cookie scenario that we always have. Which one would you rather have? This or this? Okay, I have a feeling you decided you want this one because it's more. So 1/3 is, or 1 and 1/3 is less than 1 and 2/3. Okay? Now let's look at number 4. I have 1, 2, and a half. So I have 1, 2, and 1/2, which is 2 and 1/2. Over here, I have 1 whole and 1/2, which is 1 and 1/2. Okay? This one's pretty easy to figure out which one's more, right? Because it has 2 whole pieces or 2 whole pies. Let's pretend it's pies instead of cookies this time. How about that? Since it's November and it's almost pumpkin pie time. So I've got 2 whole pumpkin pies and half a pumpkin pie. But over here, I only have 1 whole pumpkin pie and 1/2 pumpkin pie. So which one is greater or less than? Hit pause, and I want you to mark it. Then come back for the answer. All right, Lucas, I think that you probably picked this. 2 and 1/2 is greater than 1 and 1/2, right? We talked about money. You'd rather have $2.50 than $1.50, right? I know I would. Okay, now let's look down here at number 5. Uh-oh, they don't have pictures for me. So if I need to, a strategy would be to grab my bag of shapes and fractions, okay? Now, you may not have enough to do each one, so you could also get a piece of paper and draw. This will represent your whole, and your green ones are your fourths. So let's look at these numbers. 1 and 1/4 compared to 1 and 3/4. Now, let's draw. Oops, I didn't mean to jiggle it so bad. Okay, so here is my terrible circle. Remember, I'm not an artist, right? Okay, I'm going to divide it into fourths. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then another one into fourths. Okay, I had 1 whole, so I'm going to color that whole thing. And then I had 1/4, so I color 1/4 of it. Okay, this represents 1 and 1/4. My next one is 1 and 3/4. So I draw the 1, divided into fourths. Draw the second one, divided in fourths. And it said 1, which is a whole, 1 and 3/4. So 1, 2, 3. Now I look at these, my 1 and 3/4, and then I need to decide, is this less than or greater than 1 and 3/4? Well, let's look. Oh, there's quite a big difference, isn't there? So I want you to pause and write your answer. All right, Lucas, I believe you probably came up with this. 1/4 is less than 1 and 3/4. 1 and 3/4 is almost, 3/4 is almost a whole, isn't it? 1/4, that's not very much. Okay, let's look at the next one. 3 and 1/3. I say we go back to pictures and draw pictures. Okay, so I'm going to draw my circle. Oh, look, there's 3 and then a part. Okay, now I'm not very good at drawing thirds, so don't laugh, okay? Remember, I know I've already said it, I am not an artist. Okay, so I have 3 wholes, so I'm going to color in 1 whole, 2 whole, 3 whole. And then my fraction is 1/3. So I'm just going to color in one of these. Right? Look at that. I have 3 and 1/3. Now I need to draw a representation for 2 2/3. So I come here, 1, 2, and then the one that's going to have parts. Oh, look at this, that I can already tell might not have as much. So what am I drawing? 2 2/3. Okay, gotta make sure you can still see this. Okay, so oops, first thing I gotta do is make my thirds. They're my little peace signs, but these are not very good. All right, so 1, 2, and then it says how many thirds? 2/3. So I color in 1 and 2. Now my fraction, 2/3 is bigger than 1/3, but look how many holes I have. 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2. So I go back to number 6 and I look at it. 3 1/3 is, pause and put the answer. All right, you're back, and I know that you did this. 3 1/3, I'm sorry I made that so big, I want you to be able to see it. 3 1/3 is greater than 2 2/3. What you think? How's that going so far? All right, Lucas, let me get one more piece of scratch paper. Now, let's work 7 on your own. So hit pause, and when you're done, come back and we'll check it. All right, Lucas, number 7. Oh, this is going to take a lot of drawing on my part. Look at this. I have 1. Oh, you know what? I'm not going to draw circles this time because I'm not very good at dividing it into 6. So I'm going to make things easy for myself, and I'm just going to make rectangles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then the last one for my fraction, okay? Look at that. I'm much better at these than I am the circles. Well, maybe not much better. I need to work on my art skills, don't I? Okay, so let's look at this. I need to make 5 5/6. So I'm going to color in 5 whole. And I think you already did this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, there's my 5 whole. I didn't get them all the way colored in because my marker's kind of a dud. Okay, now I come over here and I'm going to color in my fraction. 5 of the 6 are colored. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And how much is left? Just that 1/6, okay? Now I need to draw 5 1/6. Okay, I'm going to go back and do the same thing and draw my rectangles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then my rectangle for my fractions. They look like little windows, don't they? Makes me think of Christmas and getting ready to decorate my windows. I start thinking about that in November. Of course, you know me, I've been thinking about that since we started school. All right, so I'm going to write, or I'm going to color in 5 1/6. So my 5 whole, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 whole. And then on this one, I'm going to color 1/6 of it. So I just color in 1 of the 6. All right, now let's look at this. Well, this is the same. It both had 5, so I have to look at my fraction. 5, 6, and 1/6. And let's see, number 7. Did you write this? If you did, you're correct because 5 5/6 is greater than 5 1/6. Awesome. Now hit pause so that you can work number 8. All right, Lucas. Now we have 2 5/8 and 3 1/8. Well, you know what? I'm not even going to draw a picture because I know what you've done. You've looked at the whole number right here. And we already know which whole number is bigger, don't we? That's right, number 3. Now, how am I going to mark this? 2 5/8 is less than 3 1/8. Whew! All right, we just got a lot done in a very short amount of time. So let's look at this box. It says mixed numbers and improper fractions. Count the wholes and parts of a whole. Well, that's what we did up here, wasn't it? We did that several times. See what they've done? 1 plus 1 plus 2/3 equals 2 2/3. You thought you were just counting over here. You were adding. Did you realize that? So over here, and when we write it as a fraction, if you remember, we represent 1 in fractions with the numerator and the denominator the same. So here's 1, another 1 plus 2/3. So if I do what I did yesterday, okay, remember, my denominator stays the same, okay? That's how I know I can add or subtract. And then I just add across. 3 plus 3 is 6 plus 2 is 8. Hey, wait a second. That looks weird. Is my bigger number usually on the top? That's crazy. This is called an improper fraction. Look at that, improper. Okay, that's because when we want to work with our fractions, we usually have them as mixed numbers. However, I kind of like having them as improper fractions. When you get up into higher math like algebra, it just saves a few steps. Okay, so let's look at number 9. Are you ready? We're going to write it as a mixed number and as an improper fraction. Okay, so let's count up how many whole pieces of pie we have. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so there's my whole number. I have 3 whole pies. Probably pecan, cherry, and pumpkin. What do you think? Oh, actually, it's probably all pumpkin because it's kind of that weird orangey color, isn't it? Ugh. All right. So then I look at my part that doesn't have all of the pieces, my pie that doesn't have all the pieces. So how many do I have? Just 1. Somebody already ate these 2. They didn't even ask if we wanted any, Lucas. That's terrible, isn't it? Okay, so I have 3 1/3 pies. Okay, now let's use it as an improper fraction. Okay, I know that my denominator is going to be a 3 because each one is divided into 3s. Now I'm just going to count the parts that are shaded. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I have 10 thirds here. Now that would be helpful if I'm having a party and I need to know how many servings I have to serve to my guest. Because if I just say, well, I have 1 whole pie, that doesn't tell them what size slices I'm going to cut it into. So this does, I'm going to have 10 thirds. So that means I can give 10 people 1/3 of each of the pies. All right, or of a pie. All right. Let's look at this where it has the pretty purple in the boxes. I like this one. Let's make sure it's on. Oh, I hope I've had it all on the camera for you. I'm having a hard time with this. All right. Now I need to look at this. What is this divided into? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Is that the answer you came up with, was 6? I hope so. Okay, so I know my fraction is going to have a 6 in the denominator. So let's count and see. This one is a whole, so how many wholes do I have? And that's right, I have 1 whole. Okay, now let's see how many parts of this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is my numerator, and we decided my denominator was going to be what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So my mixed number is 1 5, 6. How are we doing so far? Thumbs up? I hope so. All right. Now, let's write it as an improper fraction where I'm going to count all the little parts. Now, my denominator stays the same because each one of these is divided into 6. Let's see how many sixths of this we have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I have 11 sixths of whatever this is. Maybe it's a candy bar. Does it look like a Hershey's chocolate bar where it has the little, well, I guess they wouldn't be squares, they'd be rectangles. But you know what I'm talking about. All right, we're doing pretty good there. If you have any questions, go back and watch it again. All right, here we go. Number 11. Look at that. Lucas, we're almost through. It says color the parts to show the improper fractions. Write the mixed number. Okay, well, I'm going to change colors because that yellow is not doing so hot. Okay, so it says color the parts to show the improper fraction, write the mixed number. This is what each circle is divided into. Okay, my numerator tells me how many of those little parts I have. So here's what I'm going to do just to be careful. So that I don't have to start over and erase a whole bunch. I'm going to put a dot in each one of these as I count to 17 because my numerator says I have 17 parts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Look at that. How about it? Now, if I go back, I'm going to color these in. Each one of those little pie pieces that I put a dot in, I'm going to color in. And then that's going to help me find what my mixed number is. Remember, that's where I have a whole number with a fraction. Okay, so how many wholes do I have? 1, 2. Now, how many parts of this do I have shaded? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So my numerator is 5. How many pieces were in the whole thing? 6. My numerator does not change when I'm changing it from a mixed number or from an improper fraction to a mixed number or from a mixed number into a whole, or no, into a mixed number into an improper fraction. Oh, sorry. All right. Now, ooh, look at these triangles. This will be easy. I have this divided into halves. So I know my numerator is going to be what? That's right. It's going to be a 2. It's going to stay halves. Now it wants me to count 11. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Now I'm going to go back in and color those. Maybe not perfect. I should not have picked the thicker marker because there's not a lot of space. Okay. All right. Now let's see how many whole pieces I had. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 whole triangles, and then 1 half. How about it? Think you can do number 13 on your own? All right, I'm gonna let you do it. Hit pause and then come back for the answer. All right, Lucas, here we go. My numerator is 15. Look at that. And then my denominator is 8. Will my denominator change? Nope, it will not. So right there, I'm gonna put my denominator. All right, it needs me to find 15 of these 8s. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. See how fast I got? 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Now I'm going to color them in. That will help me visualize how many holes and then what my fraction is. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Almost done. Almost. All right. Oh, Lucas, we're so close. Let's count these. I had 1 hole. So I have 1 in my next mixed number. Then I need to cut blah. I'm running out of steam on this video. All right, I need to count my parts to see how much I have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. My numerator is 7, 7 eighths. So I have 1 7/8. Now, Lucas, when you are working on the back side of your page, you are more than welcome to go back and re-listen to any section of the video that you need to. Just go back into your LMS and click on the button, and you can replay it as many times as you want. All right, I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you on Wednesday.